Hey, real quick before we dive in, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's recently subscribed. It seriously means the world. And with every video, we're getting that much closer to hitting 1,000 subscribers, which is just insane to think about. Every bit of support, every comment, every like, I see it all, and I really appreciate it. Also, I've got to give a quick shout out to Gomes, Mango, JJ the Amazing, and of course, my good friend Ash. You've all been amazing helping out and making new players feel welcome in the Discord. It wouldn't be the same without you. The Discord link's down below if you want to hop in. All right, with all that said, let's get into it. Conflict of Nations is one of those games where, no matter how long you've been playing, you're probably still learning new things, and more importantly, still making simple, preventable mistakes that can cost you the entire game. So in today's video, I want to break down a few of the most common mistakes I see players make in almost every match. Some of these might seem obvious at first, but you'd be surprised how often even experienced players overlook them. Let's start with something I see all the time: over-reliance on helicopter gunships. Right now, in the current state of the game, I don't think it's controversial to say that the helicopter gunship is one of the most popular units for both new and veteran players. It's easy to understand why. It has solid offensive and defensive stats, it's fast, and it can be researched as early as day one. That early game power spike makes it an easy go-to for a lot of people. But here's the problem, and this brings me to mistake number one: attacking without air cover. If you're throwing your helicopters, ground forces, or even naval units into enemy territory without some kind of protection, like mobile anti-air or air superiority fighters, you're asking for trouble. It doesn't matter how strong your units are on paper. Without air cover, you're incredibly vulnerable to airstrikes, bombers, or even enemy choppers with better support. The result? Unsustainable losses, wasted time, and usually a massive dent in your momentum. And the worst part, it's such an easy mistake to avoid. A little preparation goes a long way. Now let's move to mistake number two. And honestly, this one is painful to watch: investing heavily in coastal cities without building any navy. I see it all the time. Players dump tons of resources into army bases, air bases, and infrastructure in their coastal cities, thinking it'll help them produce faster or defend better. But here's the thing: all of that can be destroyed in minutes by a basic naval force. If you're on the coast and you haven't built even a minimal navy, you're essentially asking to be shelled into oblivion. Instead of spending all those resources on, say, a level 4 army base, you could have built a level 2 naval base and a frigate or corvette, something to at least scout the waters and defend your shore. Conflict of Nations is a game of attrition and positioning, not random blitzkriegs. Defense and longevity win wars, not rushing units into battle without a plan. Now on to mistake number three: neglecting reconnaissance. This is an area where newer players especially fall short. The good news? Recon is incredibly easy to do in this game if you know where to look. One of the simplest tricks is switching to the morale view in the game's settings. That one view alone can show you which cities are active, which players are expanding, and where your enemies are likely focusing their attention. On top of that, there are dedicated recon tools like mobile radar, which, if placed correctly, can give you a critical early warning before an attack. Knowing where the enemy is moving, even a few hours in advance, can completely change the course of a war. With the right information, you can reposition, set traps, or even preemptively strike. In this game, information is power. That leads me to mistake number four, and this one's for both new and experienced players alike: playing lazily. And by that, I mean producing units without fully understanding what they do, what they counter, and what they're weak against. Let me give you a personal example. In a game not too long ago, I was helping a newer player learn the ropes. He was doing fine, but I noticed he kept building Marines and pairing them with tanks. Now, Marines are meant for rapid coastal deployments, jungle warfare, and tough terrain. Tanks, not so much. By combining them, he completely negated the Marines' key advantages. It was an inefficient combo that wasted time and resources, and more importantly, didn't make any tactical sense. If he had instead paired those Marines with lighter, more mobile units, or used them to launch amphibious assaults, he would have been way more effective. Finally, mistake number five: ignoring unit counters. A great example is the attack submarine. On paper, it's a monster. It can destroy most naval units without ever being seen. But it's not unstoppable. A destroyer or an ASW helicopter can neutralize it quickly, especially if your opponent is paying attention. And that's really the heart of the game. Always be thinking about what your enemy might build to counter you, and what you can build to counter their counter. Conflict of Nations isn't just about building strong units. It's about foresight, efficiency, and staying one step ahead at all times. The players who win consistently aren't just good at combat, they're good at planning, adapting, and reading the battlefield. Which brings me to another major point. Players neglecting their economy. This is easily one of the most common and costly mistakes I see, especially in the early game. Personally, one of the very first things I like to do when starting a match is focus hard on my economy. Specifically, I prioritize upgrading the arms industry in all of my cities to the maximum level as quickly as possible, especially in cities that produce resources I'm running a deficit in. This approach might feel a bit slow at first, but trust me, it pays off in a big way. By building a strong economy early, I'm able to outproduce and out-resource my enemies later in the game. That means more units, more flexibility, and a bigger stockpile to fall back on if things get messy. It's not flashy, but it's how you win wars. A well-funded war machine will always outperform a player who rushed military tech but can't sustain production. And while we're on the subject of subtle advantages, I want to quickly touch on something that doesn't quite need its own full section but still matters a lot: diplomacy. Here's the truth. Diplomacy can either be your greatest asset or your downfall. I've seen so many players make this mistake. The game starts and they're instantly talking trash in the news articles, calling out players, or boasting about their plans. All that does is paint a target on your back. It makes people not want to work with you, and it drastically reduces your chances of being accepted into a solid coalition. My advice: stay quiet for the first few days. Wait and observe the map. See who's active, who's aggressive, and who might make a good long-term partner. If you're going to reach out, make sure it's strategic, not emotional. And here's a golden rule: never coordinate an attack with someone outside your coalition. More often than not, that kind of deal is a setup. You go to war thinking you've got backup, only to find yourself isolated and surrounded. It's one of the easiest ways to walk straight into a trap. Bottom line, build your economy early, let diplomacy work in your favor, not against you. And don't be the loudmouth in the newsfeed. Play smart, play patient, and you'll be around long after the impulsive players crash and burn. And for my final tip, and this one's a big one, try not to spread yourself too thin across multiple matches. I know it can be tempting to jump into a bunch of games at once, especially when you're feeling confident or just having fun, but trust me, it can really mess with your focus. It gets hard to remember what your game plan was for one match, let alone trying to juggle 3 or 4 at the same time. When you're bouncing between games, chances are your moves start to get less thought out. You end up reacting instead of strategizing, and that's where mistakes start slipping in. It's way better to zone in on one match, give it your full attention, and really play it out properly. You'll make smarter decisions, stay more consistent, and probably enjoy the game more too. So yeah, quality over quantity. One focused match beats 3 half-hearted ones every time. But with that, I just want to say thank you once again to everyone who's recently subscribed and joined the Discord. The support has been amazing, and it really means a lot. We're getting super close to hitting that 1,000 subscriber milestone, and once we do, I'm hoping we can start running custom games in the Discord, which opens up a ton of cool opportunities for match-related content. When that becomes a thing, you can definitely expect to see more commentary-style videos, full match breakdowns with a bit of a story-driven angle. I think that's where this game really shines. The strategy, the clutch plays, the momentum shifts, all of it creates these awesome narrative moments that are super fun to watch and even better to play. I genuinely believe that kind of content could bring even more players into the game and build an even stronger community around it. So, yeah, huge thanks again for all the support. It's been amazing to watch this grow. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye for now.